Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to the eastern wing of the Stinkbug Works. Boy, do I have a lot to tell you today. I have just a whole bunch. I epoxy coated all of the canoe material. So basically what I do is I mix up epoxy, and I mixed up a whole bunch of it and put it in a container and just let these swim in it. And I used it as a palette to brush epoxy on everything. And then I go over everything with a paper towel and try to wipe off as much epoxy as I can. So I wind up with this. It's got a molecule or two thickness of epoxy on it, although epoxy has soaked into the end grain to seal it up. And I like to do this. I did this on the shrimp rigger I built a little while ago. You saw that. And my goal on that was lightweight, because epoxy adds weight. And when you build the whole thing and then you epoxy the hell out of it, you put a lot of weight into it. So I like to do just enough epoxy to keep the water out. I've discovered a couple of things. Now, this isn't glued together. It's just held in place by friction. So everything is a pretty good fit. I did discover that these, let's call them chine rails. These chine rails, the two main ride pads are parallel up to here, and then this one starts to curve in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat the part and bend it and heat it and bend it and heat it and bend it and heat it and bend it to where, see, right now it kind of bows out here and back. You see what's happening? So as I push down on this side, this other side wants to come up, and I want it parallel up to this former, this bulkhead, and then start the curve. So I'll take the part out. I will take the part out and then hit it with a heat gun at the appropriate place, put the appropriate bend in it, and work on it to get it to where it'll just drop in. Because like I said, everything's really tight on this laser cutting in the drawing. The design was right on the money. There's no oopses here. Now, another thing I'm thinking of doing is this. Let me remove these chines. NAMBA rules and good common sense have you putting flotation in your boat. And in a hydroplane, if you're not using this space for batteries, that's a good place to put flotation. I think my plan of approach, since I don't have a build sequence on this, I have to invent my own build sequence. And so here's my build sequence on this. I think I'm going to glue everything up to this point and then glue foam blocks in between here, and with like a hot wire or something, get it, roughly to shape, and then kind of sand it to shape. Since these have been epoxy coated, epoxy soaked, the foam in here will sand a whole lot faster than that. So using heat and gentle sanding, I'm planning on shaping the foam blocks. And for these chine rails, I'm kind of debating on just taking a hot wire and sticking a hot wire down in there and sticking a hot wire down in there. Yeah, it'll melt the foam and the foam will pull away and it won't be real neat, but it's inside the sponson. Its purpose isn't to look neat, its purpose is to float. So I may go that route. I may build in flotation that's actually semi-structural in that it'll tie all these bulkheads together, you know. So that's my thinking of the build sequence on that. And then once these are all built and dialed in, then we can work on joining them and figuring out how this goes and how number 6 goes. Now, number 6 is this guy, and I'm not quite sure how he goes, but this edge rides up on the non-trip that's going to go along here. So I'm just not quite sure if this guy angles back, because remember the sheeting, the top decking curves back like this. So I wonder if they want it coming back like this, although it shows it at an angle. So maybe I'm supposed to put it in thusly. It'll be interesting to see. Anyway, that hasn't been epoxy coated yet. It's not part of this. So I talked to Mike L. of M5 Boatworks, and I said, hey, Mike, would you like to market my 1/20th scale kits? And he said, sure. It's like, well, okay, well, so I am going to talk to him about that and see if you guys... Mike has a whole lot more exposure than I do. If anybody wants one of my kits, Mike would be the spot to go to. So that's what I'm thinking. I'll make a deal with Mike. Says, you can put my plans out there. See, my idea is you'll never get rich at this, and I just want my stuff out there for posterity. Because there will be a time when there is no Dr. Jet, but there will be Dr. Jet's 1/20th kits. There you go, boys and girls. So I'm working on the assembly sequence. And that's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to foam fill these sponsons. Look how nice everything fits together. I mean, this was a nice, tight kit. I mean, nice, tight kit. That's pretty good. Okay, boys and girls, until next time, Jet out.